Hello and welcome to this Gemini CLI video. Today about hooks with Dart and Jaspr. Let's have a look at our current hooks. This you can do by typing in /hooks panel. And here you can already see there are some hooks activated. And here are some AfterTool hooks and AfterAgent hooks. Today we talk about the AfterTool hook and especially about the AfterWriteAnalyze hook. You can also see all hooks in the Gemini folder, and there is a hooks folder, and here are shell scripts. So for example, the AfterWrite hook is just a shell script, but it's connected to the actual Gemini CLI hook. Here you can already see this is the AfterTool section, and here is a matcher and the hook itself. So AfterTool means it's executed after each tool hook, for example, if you want to write a file, read a file, and so on. And you can customize when to run this hook with the matcher. The matcher itself is on write file or replace a file, which is basically editing a file. And then this is the hook. The name is AfterWriteAnalyze. This is also what you see here in the overview. And then this is a type command. There are also other commands which are currently not supported by Gemini CLI, but probably will soon. There is the command that should be executed, which is the afterwrite.sh file. And this is here. So what is our goal today? Today, whenever we write some Dart code, we want to check the Dart analyzer. This you can do by just Dart analyze the lib folder, and here you can see there are no issues. And an issue could be, for example, if you have a variable which is not used. You can see it in the IDE, but it's not visible to Gemini yet. And if I type Dart analyze lib again, then it says, hey, there is a warning, which is the unused local variable. And of course, you want to give this information to Gemini whenever it writes code to a Dart file. So for example, let's actually do this with Gemini already. I can showcase this to you. For example, we want to change the file, which is the test file I have, test hook, and also print the current date. Right, so what will happen? So Gemini will understand this prompt and will change the Dart file. There is already a Dart analyze issue there, so it should write something to this file, and then when it executes the hook on AfterTool, so basically when it finishes writing this file, it will execute the AfterWrite.sh file, and then we'll see automatically that there's a warning, and we'll fix it before Gemini continues. So let's execute this. Here it already says, okay, it reads the file, test hook, which I, of course, added with an add label, which is reading the file right away. And it will also say, okay, I will update this file. And it will also say, I will remove the unused variable as well. So you can also see already there is this print. And if I press now F12, here's the hook system message, which is lint issue found after replace. And this is coming from the hook itself. So let's check the file again. Okay, it's not there anymore, which is great, right? So let's do the same again but now we print it. And let's print it so it's used, right? Let's do the same thing again, actually. So let's remove this one here. Let's clear things, and then let's execute the command again. Same response. And now let's see. Edit this file. That's it, probably. I will execute the updated file, which is working, it seems. That's it. So it's not removed. If I maybe have a different, this is just all issues, right? So this is a variable that doesn't exist. I can clear and execute this one again, and then it should remove it or add quotes to it. Let's see what it does. Yeah, removed as well. Okay, now it's before the hook actually happened, because it was thinking, hey, there's something that is not used, so it understood it already without the Dart analyzer. Let's see the F12. So F12 you can press for debug console. There is no hook. Okay, this time it worked without the hook. All right, so how does this work? You already saw that there is a setting.json file. Here you can define all hooks that exist. There's a hooks object document and the AfterTool, which is this matcher of the write file and replace. You can, of course, do something like this as well. Then it has the glob pattern, so this should work. But in our case, it's write file or replace works perfectly. The hook itself, I would ask Gemini to write this hook, but you, of course, need to understand what's happening. There's also a debug input into the error output channel, so the error console log basically, and this is for debugging. So this input variable, it's not used for Gemini as an input, it's just used for debugging, so that you can use always the console error channel. And this is basically where it has all information. For example, it has the information of which file it wrote, which command it used, and so on. So you can print this and see what's inside. In our case, there's a tool name and a file path, and the file path, of course, we check for a Dart file, so you want to optimize this, so only execute this shell script or the commands after you touch the Dart file, and if it's true, it then executes this, and it also that formats it, so it formats the file path. So what we see here now, it does not format the whole project, it just formats the file, which makes it, of course, more performant than just using the lib folder. And then the output is the Dart analyze. So now this is where the magic happens. The Dart format I put inside because there could be some formatting issues you can just get rid of by calling this before. The Dart analyze with the file path, so it's the same things. It analyzes the file path only and nothing else, which makes it more performant and faster. And the output is then in this variable here. All right, so now it also checks the output, and if no issues found, then it's all good. So we can tell Gemini the decision is now allow, please continue what you're doing and just continue. And or if there are some issues found, then of course we want to check what the issue actually is. So now we're going to check the output, and we put the output into a JSON format. So what you always need is to respond with a JSON. So then you say, okay, this decision is denied now. So stop what you're doing. Please fix these issues first. And the reason why you should stop is that the actual error from the Dart analyze. Here is this file again. So it has information which file to check, and of course the output of the Dart analyze. And this is the message that we just saw in the debug. And this else is if it's not a Dart file, so it should continue the work. And this is executed after each replace file tool call. So you can make sure that everything that Gemini produces is formatted and analyzed well. So why are we doing Dart analyze? Of course, it can hallucinate. There's context 7, which should get rid of hallucination, but it still can happen. And I mean, in this unused variable, for example, it can check that it's not used, right? But sometimes it just does its job and does nothing else. So you can force it to do something more than that. And of course, you can write custom lints with your own logic here as well, automated, without using much context. All right, so I think that's already it. We can test it, of course, a bit. Here's just my Jaspr front end. So this is my website. You can also look it up on GitHub. I connected, maybe I write it into the notes here, and also on my blog, so you can look up tilo.dev. There are the blog posts about it. That's it, I think. So now you know how to write AfterTool hook, and you can customize it on your own. So feel free to add any hooks you like. Bye-bye.